Hey guys, Stephanie Denman from the Denman Homestead here, and I'm going to admit something. I have dropped the ball. I sure did. I dropped the ball on a crop that I was super excited about growing and trying for the first time. And if I'm honest, I mean, time just kind of got away from me. Getting my little... Time got away from me. Let me just make some excuses, okay? It's time, it's heat, it's water. I could go on and on. But I don't know if it's ruined. I don't know if this crop is ruined because I don't know if I'm going to be able to use these. I can't get them open. Hold on. Hold please. So what is the crop I'm talking about? I'm talking about sorghum. So I planted this sorghum with everything else, and I probably should have harvested it like when I harvested the corn like a month ago. So I'm just taking my little cart out here and I'm going to see what it looks like. Because it's still, some of it still has green leaves, some of them have dried out leaves. I don't know. I don't really know. Some of it's falling down, some of it's broken, you know, laid over. But I'm gonna go ahead and harvest some of this and just see what I can do. All right, so let's cut some of these stalks down. Actually, you guys, I think some of the seed has fallen and resprouted new sorghum. Look, this is an individual little baby plant right here. This is a completely separate plant. Huh. I wonder. Well, I'll leave some of these new ones and see if I can get like a second little crop from it. That's pretty cool. Look, it's a happy accident. I'm going to try to harvest and save some of these seeds. Let's see if you can focus on it. Some of these seeds so I can have extra seeds next year for, I'll dry them out and just reuse these seeds for next year's harvest. And then whatever I don't use, I can give this to my chickens or even maybe experiment with grinding it up into some sort of flour, because I know you can make some sorghum flour out of these. So I'm going to keep these separate. I don't know if I'm going to pull off these leaves as I go or if I'm going to take them back to the house and do it. But when you are harvesting sorghum, you do need to remove the leaves. In my research that I've done on these. So it's just a cane. And I don't know if we've talked about it or not, but my pumpkin patch dried up. It didn't pan out. It's just the weather. Weather didn't cooperate this year for me. I'm guessing it's because of the sugar content, but these things are covered in ants. I might need to get gloves. All right, let me show you what I'm doing. I've cleared out this section here for the most part, except for these smaller ones. These volunteers that have started to come back up. And I just went ahead and I'm just stacking them over here on the ground. And I'm going to show you where I'm making a cut, because I'm not cutting it all the way down to the dirt. Let me get a good one to show you. Okay, so this is a pretty thick, mature stalk here. And this one is a new growth, so I'm not cutting that. But if you see here, down here, here's the root system to this stalk. And right above this little joint here is where I'm making the cut. So I'm just snipping it right here, and it's actually pretty easy to cut. Like, I'm holding the camera and just cutting with my left hand, and it cuts pretty clean and easy. And then right now, I'm just stacking them, and I'll cut the tassels in a little bit. Okay, update as my hair slowly falls. I have cut down pretty much everything that I'm going to. Everything that had a mature tassel or mature seeds on top, I cut it down, but now you can see like a little bit more clear through the weeds. The bright green that are new sorghum. I honestly don't know. I don't know what's going to come of them, but I'm going to leave them in the ground as an experiment. And right now over here in my little buggy, I've snipped off all of the seeds, seed toppers in there. Over here, in this stack, I now need to take away all of the leaves, the outer leaves, and then I've got a stack over here of just the canes. Right here. So I'm going to keep doing that, and I'll get back to you when I'm done. Alright, we are 2 hours later, and we've got all of the cane peeled from my pile of, where are we at here? A pile of leaves over here. Use my little garden cart. Got my cane and the seeds, the heads of them on here. And man, these things are covered in ants. Covered. I got quite a bit of bites on me. There wasn't a whole lot I could do because the ants were just like in the leaves as I was like shucking them. The gloves helped out a bit, but yeah, lots of ants. So now I'm going to take this up to the house, and I'm going to see if I can't use my actual juicer, my indoor juicer, to cut these stalks into smaller pieces and juice them that way, because I don't have a cane press. We have a mill, like a mill that Buddy uses to crack grain with, and that might work, but there's no real way to capture all the juice that falls. Like, there's no tubing or anything. So first I'm going to try to use the indoor juicer. Hopefully I don't break it, because it's not like industrial strength or anything. It's just your run-of-the-mill juicer. We've had it forever. And if that doesn't work, then we'll have to go to plan B. And once we juice these stalks, we're going to have a bunch of green liquid. Then we're going to strain that off, and then we're going to boil it down to make a syrup. And the boiling down part is going to take a long time, like hours and hours and hours. So, might be doing this all night long. But at least we can head inside, maybe, for this part. Let's go. So, good news, about the only good news, is that I am actually able to start to get a little bit of some sorghum juice out of these canes. I tried it 2 different ways. I tried taking the hard husk off of the cane and just juicing the inside pulp. That seemed to work fairly well. However, it is going to take a long time to do this. Then I just tried to like juice it with everything on it, and it seemed like my juicer was struggling with just one. So I'm gonna have to peel them all. And then let me show you what's going on with my juicer. What? What is happening here? Like, I guess it's just so fine that it's like shooting everything out. I mean, everything is like, there's a, I don't know, can you see this? Like, there's a good amount of stuff in the thing, but there's just like sawdust everywhere. And my little jar needed to be propped up, and I spilled some. So I'm like having to lean it up against. It's just a little bit of a couple, like, just technical difficulties here. Is it worth it? That's what I'm asking myself right now. Is it worth it? Do we just throw in the towel? I mean, it's hot. The goats would enjoy it. I want to finish this project. I want to see it through. But if I'm going to do this again, y'all, I have got to find a better solution. Because this isn't it. This is not it. I need like a true sugarcane juicer or something. I need to research that. I guess I'll just get to peeling this off. It's just a lot of work. Oh well. See this middle part? This is what I want. This is what I need to juice. Doesn't really smell like much. And I only this whole basket. And that's only 3 stalks. Oh, what was I thinking? There's got to be a better way. Okay, this is my last pile to go through, and I've split pretty much every cane. I cut off the little knuckle joints on each of the canes so that it's easier for me to split. And I'm basically just taking my sharp knife and cutting them down the middle like this. And then we're going to boil these. We're not going to put them in the juicer. So it's making pretty quick work when I do this. It's getting kind of late though for today to do the boiling part of it, because that's going to take several hours to boil down. So I will probably just stick these in the freezer and let them freeze overnight. And then also sticking them in the freezer helps break down that cellulose level as well, and the sugars are released a little bit easier in the water whenever we boil it down. So we're going to go that route instead, and I'll keep you posted. So far I haven't cut myself. Alright, we are day 2 because I ran out of time yesterday to start this process, so now we're starting it today. I've got my bags of my cut up sorghum stalks, and I put them in the freezer so they're frozen, and I'm gonna put them in my big canning pot. It's a 23-quart pot. I figured this pot would be ideal for this project. I'm gonna hope to get as many as I can in here at one time so that I don't have to do 2 batches. We'll see. Because it's gonna take a long time to get this boiled down. Essentially what we're going to want to see is that all the water is going to eventually evaporate. It's going to take a long time, so we're not going to put a lid on it because we don't want to trap that moisture. We want to let that water evaporate, and what we want to be left with is just the sugars. It's going to be mind-blowing. So this pot is full, but we may end up with maybe like a cup or 2 of actual syrup from this pot. So let's go ahead and start this now so we can get this process started. While I'm filling up my pot over here with water, I want to show you something that's pretty cool that we found. I don't know if you guys deal with like fruit flies in your house, but we do. And I mean, prime example, we just picked a bunch of pears. They're sitting in a box. Sometimes, you know, flies get in, they smell them, whatever, and then all of a sudden you get these little flies. Or maybe you have bananas. It happens to me all the time with bananas. Even if I wash them sometimes, or if I bring them in, they find another place to go, and then all of a sudden you get these like gnats. gnats or flies, right? Fruit flies. Got a watermelon back there too. So this contraption here is pretty neat. Coke it. It's super quiet. There's a little bit of a hum, but it's just a blue light, no chemicals, nothing. And there's a fan inside, and the gnats are kind of drawn to that light, and the fan sucks them down onto a sticky pad. Let me show you. It's pretty cool. So all you do is you just twist this bottom part off. And check it out. Isn't that gross? There's actually an ant in there right now. I guess an ant found its way. There's an actual like house fly in there. But all those little tiny things are fruit flies. And I have not had to deal with fruit flies all summer pretty much because of this thing. So it's really cool. I thought I'd share it since it's on my countertop over here while we're doing stuff in blue light. But yeah, I just keep it on, and there's a couple different modes that you can play around with. But yeah, just set it on your countertop, no chemicals. It's not good for outside use, it's just indoor use. So if you have like, put it by your fruit, whatever. Anyway, it's pretty neat. I'll put the link to it in the description if you're interested. I'm gonna turn that puppy on high heat. And then once this starts boiling, I'm gonna just try to kind of mash this down to where most of the cane can be under the water. And so that way the water can leach out all of the sugars from the cane. Now these canes are gonna turn from a green color to a like dull tan or brown color. That's when we're gonna like know that most of the sugars have been leached from the cane. And then we'll pull out all those canes, and then we'll just boil down what's left in the pot, which is gonna be like a green colored water until it comes to like a brown or a caramel color syrup. That's going to be the kind of steps that we're going to go through in these next couple hours. So hang in there with me. Okay guys, I got a little sidetracked, and it's been going for a long time. A lot of the water has evaporated. It smells like a sweet grass in my house right now. If you can imagine, like maybe like a sweet corn. I don't know. It's just very earthy and sweet in the air. At first it just smelled like grass, but now it's getting a little bit more sweetness to it. I'm going to start trying to pull out some of this cane and set it aside and just see what the liquid looks like, what we're left with. I don't know how I'm gonna do this quite yet, but I'm gonna attempt to not make a huge mess doing it. Let's see what we got. So I just got another pot, and I'm just going to take them out and put them over here. And honestly, just now it dawned on me that it would be kind of cool to see if I could just render these down more again, and more again. Okay. If I could boil these out again in another pot, if I could get any more out. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. Let's just see. What we're working with right now, water is kind of like a deep brown, so that's good. It's a good sign. I think at this stage I'm going to go ahead and strain this liquid through a cheesecloth to get any of those fine bits. That way I can really start to focus on reducing this liquid down even further, and the end product will be like ready to go, and I don't have to worry about straining a syrup so much. Okay, so over here I have a cheesecloth double layered with a strainer, and it's inside of a bigger bowl. And I'm just going to this is boiling still, so I'm going to carefully pour this into here and then put it back in the pot and continue it boiling. I don't want to cool it down too much. Have to work on getting it back up to temperature. So we're just gonna carefully strain this guy. Let me get be easier. Oh, this is hot. Hot, hot, hot. Here. Now I'm going to carefully pour this back into my pot. Okay. So now, we're going to let this return to a boil, and we want this to just reduce down to a syrup consistency. I don't know how much we're going to get. We'll see. Alright, y'all, this has been going on for several hours now, and we are like down to, I don't even know, like maybe we'll get a tablespoon out of this. I'm not sure. It's a total experiment, but I'll tell you that the house is sweet now. It smells like a sweet syrup in the house versus a grass. The color of the liquid is definitely more amber, almost like a dark tea color. And I'm stirring it frequently just to make sure, because we're so close to the bottom, that I'm not going to scorch or burn this. That would be awful. So I'm just stirring it every so often. And I feel like it's trying to thicken up some. So we may be coming down to the wire here where the water, the majority of the water is started to evaporate and just the sugars are left. So I'm going to keep a close eye on it now. I'm not going to take my eye off of it. But I'm just going to stir it every so often. And I'm hopeful that it'll thicken up a little bit more. Still got a pretty liquid consistency. And we'll taste it, see how it tastes. Okay, this is actually starting to thicken up a little bit. So I think I'm gonna turn the heat down or off. I've turned the heat off. But I am going to pour this into a mason jar and see the consistency once it's completely cooled. Right now it's still pretty fluid and liquid. It may thicken up once I get it cooled down. Found this cool jar. It's like a, you know, it's a wide mouth. So, let me, oh yeah. Now this is cool. Y'all see that? Kind of hush. It's like almost like a caramel. You guys see this? That's pretty cool. Now the true thing is going to be to taste it and see what my honest opinion on what I think this tastes like, because it has a sweet smell. Wow. It's very sticky. So, just to give you... Yeah, that looks like syrup to me. It looks like syrup. Let's taste it. Well, okay. All right. So, my first impressions are, it's not bad. It's not bad. And maybe had I processed them differently, it wouldn't give off this initial flavor, but the initial flavor is a little bitter. But the finish is sweet. The finish is sweet. And I don't know if this would work out well in like coffee or a tea or something, or even in baking, or maybe on a biscuit. It would take some of that off, that flavor. Again, I can see how this would be like a pioneer type sweetener. I can also see why refined sugar is probably more tasty than this up front. It's a bittersweet sweetener, in my opinion. So like bittersweet chocolate, it's got that bitter, but also sweet. Same thing for me with this batch. I will say, I think it's super cool that I turned 30 stalks of an experimental grass, sorghum is in the grass family, into my own natural sweetener syrup. And I'm going to experiment with this, and I'm going to see what I can make with this syrup. I'm also going to get Buddy's take on it. Maybe the kids, I don't know. The kids I know for sure are going to be like, blah, at first. But I think that this has potential. And I think it's pretty neat to know that you can grow in your backyard a couple rows of sorghum and use the stalks for a sweetener. I will tell you, in my research with sorghum, it's lower on the glycemic index, so it's not going to give you that sugar spike that a traditional granular sugar would. So, and it's got phosphorus, magnesium, calcium. It's got some good vitamins and minerals in the sorghum, in the sweetener itself. So the plant is beneficial in that way. It's also an antioxidant. It does have some anti-inflammatory properties. So all in all, it's I believe, a healthier alternative for a sweetener if you're looking for something like that. You can also substitute it like a 1-to-1 for like honey, corn syrup, any liquid, agave, any liquid sweeteners. You can use this in place of it as well. Now you might be asking, what's the difference between a sorghum syrup and molasses? Because they're both very similar. And molasses is a byproduct of sugarcane. Sorghum syrup is a byproduct of the sorghum plant, sorghum cane, if you would. So molasses is basically once the sugar granules are collected from the sugar cane, what's left over is that molasses, and it's got that real thick, syrupy, sweetness to it that molasses has. Now, when you boil molasses down even further, you get that black strap, and that is the super bitter sweetener. That's the byproduct of molasses. So there's always a byproduct of something, right? So this here is similar to molasses in that way, where it's the just the boiling down of the cane, and this is what you get from that. So this is kind of settling. There's some bubbles on top from me pouring it into there, but those should settle. Just take a look at that color. That's pretty neat. I'm pretty impressed. And I'm not done with my sorghum plants. I still have all the tops to my sorghum. Some I will save because I do plan on replanting that because I think it's really neat. They're drought tolerant. The plant themselves actually came from Africa. Unfortunately, they came to the South during the slave trades. So sorghum was introduced to the southern states during that time frame, and they discovered that they do really well in dry, hot climates. So, I mean, look how well they still thrived, and they're growing more plants, even though we haven't had rain in forever. So they do really well down here in the South. And the tops of them that put off the seeds, those can actually be cooked and used as well. So I will set aside some of those for replanting. They were an heirloom variety. This was a, I'll have to put in the description the exact variety of this sorghum. I want to say it was Mennonite sorghum. And so it was an heirloom variety, and I'll replant them because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed growing it. And the leaves that I cut up, the stalks that I'm not going to use, or the stalks over here, I can give to the goats and the chickens. They'll eat that down, so nothing will go to waste. So yeah, stay tuned for the seeds because I want to do something with those as well. So we'll figure that out. Okay, well, I will, when the kids get home with Buddy, I'm going to have them try this and let you get their take on it, and then we'll wrap this one up. Okay, we're back. What did I tell you when you walked in? Okay, so I told Buddy that he wasn't allowed to try or taste
or know anything about
it until he got on camera because I wanted his genuine reaction. So, you knew from yesterday I was taking all of the sorghum stalks out and I was going to process them today.
Correct.
And I did.
Yes.
And I made syrup.
All of our sorghum?
Yep.
Made that?
Yes.
Yikes.
But listen, this is only like 30 stalks.
Yeah.
2 rows.
Yeah.
And if you planted a whole acre of sorghum, it would give you 400 gallons of this. If you processed it like correctly, because I didn't.
So this is syrup.
This is syrup.
Okay.
This is like a molasses. So molasses is sugar cane.
Right.
This is the syrup of the cane of the sorghum plant.
Okay.
Now just keep in mind, this is like this is what they use like in the old timey days.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not going to be the sweetener that you would be used to.
Probably better. Maybe.
Go for it. Stick your finger in there.
Just stick my finger.
Unless you want to spin.
Wow. Okay. That's thick.
Don't get a lot. There you go. That's good.
Man, it's like caramel.
I know. That's what I said.
Wow. That's really cool. It's almost like there's plum in it or something, like some kind of fruit aftertaste.
Yeah.
But you get the sweetener and that caramel texture, but then almost like a...
I got a bitter at the beginning. I got a very a bitter taste at the beginning. But then it finished really sweet.
I just get this like fruity...
Really?
Right up front. I get this like apricot, plum kind of, I don't want to say raisin, but that kind of like date. Very similar to a date.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is what it rendered down to. But I
Oh,
did
that's
this
cool.
all without a press.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Good job, baby.
Thank you. So I figured I could try this out in coffee or maybe on biscuits or something. Connor, try the syrup.
I'm good.
Just try the syrup, Connor, please.
Alright.
Dad said it was good. Laura, come try the syrup.
Okay.
Laura's gonna try it.
Alright. Look at that. Look at that.
Can you get her a little? Come here, Laura.
I want a big piece.
No, I'm getting a little bit. Just a little.
Hold on, let her. Come over here.
Oh my god.
Uh-oh.
Hurt. She said,
I'm a fruity aftertaste.
Yeah, she thinks it's fruity too.
Oh, fruity aftertaste. Wow, I don't get that. It's weird.
Yeah.
Let me try again, maybe. I'll just lick with Laura's spoon.
I just, for whatever reason, like date or plum or something like that just comes to mind.
Yeah. I don't know. It's almost like a coffee. Like a black coffee bitter for me. It's like coffee with honey with no creamer. Taste it again.
Yeah. Just sweetness with some kind of dark red fruit right up front.
I kind of like it.
You do like it?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that was a success. But
I'd say that was pretty sweet.
Yeah. Well, my 2 rows of sorghum gave me this tablespoon. I'm joking. It's probably a cup worth of syrup. And like I told you before, I'm gonna try to use the tops and the seeds of them for something else too. We'll have to figure it out. They're grain. They can just be fed straight to the chickens, but maybe I'll try to mill them.
Yeah. Also, don't just chew on the stalk.
Oh, no, don't do that.
Because you know what you'll get? Sorghums.
Yeah, go ahead and see yourself out. Go ahead and see yourself out with that one. Oh my gosh. But you don't want to chew the stalk because it is very bitter. It has a lot of that chlorophyll, right?
Chlorophyll.
Yeah. Not to be confused with chloroform. Yeah, that green chlorophyll. Anyway, so this is it. And thanks for hanging out with me today with this one. It was a truly experiment from start to finish. I think it ended up pretty good. And we'll see what comes of the rest of the plant.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks, Laura. And we'll catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.